Welcome to the Curious Mind podcast and the fourth part of my therapy recording sessions. This is the second part of the second session with my client Anna. And in this episode, she will continue to reflect on her family situation and in particular the theme of exclusion. Who is in the family, who is outside of the family, and what are possible implications for how to get back into the family. Could you point that out a bit more or just reflect on it? What do you need from them? Why are you the one that needs something from what they can give?
I would love for them to share with me a little more, like things that they're dealing with, because for a while I didn't even know my brother had a girlfriend until like stuff like that.
Why is that important?
Because it was such a big deal for him to get a girlfriend, and we were trying for so many years for him to find somebody, and then he did, and didn't really he didn't share that with me at all, and I found out just by chance, right?
Yes.
And it's like I'm not really part of the family if I don't know those things, and I think I would just like to have those fun talks that we used to have. That would be really nice.
It brings me back to the question that I have when it's always at the back of my mind. What is family to you? Because I understand there is something like family that was in the past. It was the close connections that you had, the fun
Yeah.
time, that they trusted you, that you trusted them. So this was there, and it was at the time when you were still living in the US, when you were younger, before you got married, before you were pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this is, I mean, almost two decades ago. It has been a while. So right now, it's not real.
Yeah.
Is this need for family a need to go back to a place, to a time when you felt happy with them? What is the present need that you have?
Yeah.
Or is it all melancholic? Is it just, oh, I wish we could have those fun times again?
Yeah. Maybe it's a bit of that. Like I'm just being very nostalgic. Um, I don't know. I never thought of it. Like what their purpose in my life would be. It's just we always assume like, okay, you have a brother and sister or siblings, whatever. Family is family, right? And that's what I was taught. Like no matter what, you have to be family. My family is kind of it's like very, very close to the point where they don't accept outsiders. So people who married into my family were never treated like fully as part of the family.
Yes.
um there's a lot of deep stuff with that, and even my father, who has been with my mom since they were like teenagers, it took him a long time to be fully accepted in my mom's side of the family, which is bizarre because they grew up in the same area, whatever. And so we always had this thing like, they're not really part of us.
Yes.
And so now maybe I'm feeling like, oh no, I'm like, I've been kicked out like the in-laws and boyfriends, girlfriends. I'm like in that category.
Yeah. So that there's a theme on, or we can say maybe a tool of inclusion and exclusion. That
Yeah.
inclusion has to be earned somehow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for some reason, you fell out of favor and you
Yeah.
haven't earned the inclusion anymore. Does that sound right?
Definitely. Like it's so deep. Like my mom will only tell me a few things about my sister, not everything,
Hmm.
you know. And she'll be like, no, and she'll brush it off, and she won't like reveal certain things or whatever. And it's not like she doesn't want to gossip. It's not like going into gossip territory or
Yeah.
negative. It's just more like, what's happening with her? Like, can we tell me, does she need help or something? And it's like, I'm not in the situation.
Yeah. So that reveals at least two things so far that we had in our conversation, which I would like to kind of bring to more to the surface to see what you're up against. There's the one thing that we had more in the beginning, which is a family policy of not talking about conflicts, not maybe express needs and demands so overtly,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
but this avoidance theme, right? So there's one thing,
Yeah.
and that can be already challenging enough to break because you're in the position now where you don't want things to just continue, so you want to make a change, right? And in order to make this change, it's probably necessary that you open up more of, look, guys, I have been disappointed by the past. I would like us to be closer together again. In short, to say something that usually is not said in your family. So that's one thing. And then now
Yeah.
we have another theme emerging where your family has apparently a kind of a way of including and excluding people, which, as you said, can be quite powerful. And so far that even in-laws after years kind of have to struggle to be regarded
Yeah.
as insiders. And
Mm-hmm.
you have been, we can to put it drastically, excommunicated in this,
Yeah. This,
right? So there's
yeah.
little communication with you from their side.
Mm-hmm.
And so, additionally, to kind of introduce yourself as a new person, the person that you are now, and not the cutie that you have been regarded as when you were young. So, to introduce yourself as a new person with new needs and to overcome this exclusion that somehow more or less consciously has taken place, these are powerful obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
These are obstacles that, I mean, I know very little of your family just from your descriptions, but if I look at other families, this has potential to go over generations. It's like your
Mm.
grandfather disappointed my grandmother, and this is why we never regarded
Yeah.
you as fully blood.
Yeah.
Families do that. I'm not saying that
Yeah.
yours necessarily, but these kind of stories, these kind of dynamics, they do have the power to
Mm-hmm.
continue for such a long time. So when you reach out to your siblings, I think it's good to keep in mind that there are those several additional unconscious layers in their minds that they have to overcome in order to be close to you again. Okay,
Yeah.
so
It goes deep, doesn't it?
yeah,
Generational thing.
yes,
It's like being in a clan or like a cult or something with my family sometimes.
yeah,
I'd
and
call it
families
very
get this benefit,
clannish.
right? Yes. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's reflect a little bit on, let's say you're reaching out to a sibling, right? And we keep in mind that there are those kind of instinctual obstacles for them to reconnect with you again. A consequence of this would be for me that you would have to make it really attractive and interesting and palatable to connect with them again. Oh, sorry, for them to connect with you again. How would you
Yeah.
package this, the whole thing? What are some of your ideas just to brainstorm what you could try so that they would be interested in that?
I was thinking that, like, I started with thinking with my sister yesterday, like, for us to just share more just pictures, just privately,
Hmm.
because I know she doesn't like to post online, which is fine. I respect that, but like, I don't know, like, what my nieces look like. And
Mm.
I told her, like, even, because they're growing up so quickly and I don't get to see them so much. So maybe if I just start sending her more short videos or pictures to show her, hey, like this is something that we can do together because we're both mothers. We can bond over that,
Yes.
that you're not alone being a worried mom or whatever. Our children are the same age, by the way.
Hmm.
We were both pregnant the same year. And so there's a connection with that, and we can go off of that, you know.
Yes.
Um,
That's a possibility. It seems to me that this would be driven by your initiative.
yeah,
And maybe this is kind of an investment that you want to make for your own sake because you will get something out of it, which is eventually to belong. So I think this is one kind of set of strategies, which is kind of to casually lure them into more contact and
yeah,
uh, which
yeah.
is non-conflictual, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would be a more open, more direct approach? How would that look like when you expressed your need stronger, when you expressed your
Mm-hmm.
disappointment of the past stronger, and so on? How would that look?
I guess, in terms of with my sister, it's just a simple conversation, because I think with her I can
Hmm.
communicate that openly. I think with her it's there, but with my brother, I don't know. Like,
Yes.
I don't know if we're just so different that, and we just have such different lifestyles that it might, like, I don't even know if he would care to listen.
Hmm. Okay, let's think about
So,
a contact with your sister then. So that seems more realistic. Can
yeah,
so you can imagine to have an open conversation like that with her. With were several
yeah,
instances in the past where I was disappointed. I realize that more and more now. I'm sorry that I was
hmm,
not more open in the past myself. All these kind of more explicit kind of bits of insight
yeah.
to give. How would that fare, do you think? How would you react to that?
I think she would be open to it. She's one of the, she's a very good listener.
Hmm.
She's someone like, she wouldn't be judgmental. She's someone who, like, my brother's close with her. Like, she
Yes.
can be close to both of us. She knows how to handle people, and to be the rock. I think the torch got put onto her.
Hmm. Where you
So
left. Hmm.
yeah, definitely. She was more involved with mom and dad, and having children of her own also, like, elevated her place in the family, because things were centered around her daughters. And so she has more like control in that way, but and maybe she's not happy that she got put in that position.
Hmm.
I think that it's stressful for her. She has a lot of stress that she deals with. And sometimes I feel guilty about it. That,
Yes.
like, I abandoned her.
Yes. Right. But I mean, you had this position for a long time. Do you think that she got
Yeah,
the worst part of the bargain? That the stress in the post 20s is more to bear than
yeah,
the stress that you had?
yeah. I think so. Because, mom and dad now are getting older, and they
Hmm.
had to sell their place, and they moved in with my brother.
Oh.
And there's more like, oh, we got to take care of mom and dad now. Yeah. And whereas before it was like mom and dad were there for us to go and stay with them, and we can like rely on them. But now the roles have reversed, and there's so much pressure put on her, taking
Hmm.
care of two kids, working full time, dealing with her marriage issues, taking care of family, that she's never had. Like, earlier I was mentioning that she doesn't have a life outside of family. That's not her fault, though. Like,
I see.
she's not allowed to. And here I am. I have more freedom, in my life now that I don't have uh, a crazy marriage, and I can, things generally in my personal life are quite good.
Hmm.
I can go do some traveling if I wanted. I can, go have a fun night out. She can't. She doesn't get that.
Yes.
And I feel so bad.
Right. So that's even a third layer, right? That might make it difficult for them. And it's like, oh, we didn't know much, but she's fine. She doesn't have
Yeah,
to worry. We have mom and
right.
dad to take care of.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I always hear comments like, "Oh, it's nice that you get to go to Berlin.
mm,
Oh, who's watching your kid?" Like,
mm,
and I have a different life arrangement here where I can do those things. It
yeah,
doesn't mean that my life's perfect and I'm completely happy and satisfied all the time. But for them, it looks like, well, she's living it up, and
yes,
we have to work a lot and we have to take care of family stuff, and I just take a train, you know?
yes. So it could be like she chickened out, and
Yeah,
now we have the responsibility. And that might be a source of
yeah,
resentment that they might be more or less aware of.
yeah, for sure. I feel that. I feel like, yeah, they probably resent me. Like, I think they don't want to address that, and they will hide that because that's not something we're supposed to feel,
Mm,
because we're family and family is thicker than blood, right?
yeah.
But it manifests in other ways, you know. And that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe it would be healthier if they just got it out and just told me, like, hey, I'm not happy that you did that. You know.
Okay, but from their point of view, let's say they vent and they let it out, right? And there would be a more open discussion about this. What would
Yeah.
you do? And they say, look, if you want any contact, you have to move back and support us with mom and dad. If you don't want to do
Oh,
this,
well.
fine, your choice. But then don't count on us
Hmm.
to be the family that you wish to have because you left us with them.
Yeah.
So that might be, this would be a kind of a worse scenario of how such a conversation would go. But what I'm trying to say is an open conversation would not necessarily lead the conflict, because then they would say, okay, you want to change things? Come back.
Mm, yeah.
And that is
And
certainly not
I,
something that you would like to do.
no, no. But at least I would know. At least it would be clear, right? Because um, I wouldn't love that situation. I wouldn't, be happy after that conversation. But at least I'd have a little more peace with it. Like, well, at least I know where the boundaries are. Whereas now it's like I really don't know.
I see.
I'm in no man's land with who I am in this family.
Can you imagine I mean, we're still thinking in possible conversations. Could you imagine from your side to just apologize for that without even knowing if they have such a conscious resentment?
I think I've come to a place where I would feel comfortable doing that. I think earlier I was like, like how I couldn't. I would have been angry, like, don't
Mm,
you know what I'm dealing with? But now, because I have a more peace and clarity about myself here,
yeah,
um, I can completely empathize with them and say, I understand. Like, it wasn't fair, but at the same time, it wasn't intentional. It wasn't personal. you know, I wasn't trying to be a bad person to you.
yes.
So, yeah.
I mean, I know constellations of such, families that live in different locations where uh, the one in your position might take over some responsibilities in order to, unburden the family of, for example, I don't know, to take care of some accounting stuff or some health insurance stuff, or something that
Right.
can be contributed from the distance, which would be not only a substantial help for your siblings in that case, but would be just could not be ignored as a gesture where kind of your effort to put something in would just unmistakably show, look, I want to get involved. I am living here. I'm not moving back, but I'm doing, if there's something that I can do from here, I will take this extra load just in order to show you that I
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
might be a possibility.
Yeah. I would be open to that, like, my parents are not too thrilled about my brother's girlfriend or whatever and stuff.
Mm.
And I always said, I can talk to my brother,
Mm-hmm.
like, do you want me to talk to him? Do you want me to ask him some things? Because I'm a neutral person in this situation. I don't know so much, but I can be there. But I need to be a little more, I need to put more pressure on my brother to like talk to me because
Mm.
there's nothing coming from his side. So,
Mm-hmm. But let me ask you, because we have spoken mostly about your siblings now, and my understanding was from the beginning and the middle of our conversation that your priority would be to like to reconnect with your siblings because this is for you the future of your family. So if I took
right.
that kind of aspect more seriously, then it would be detrimental to have an antagonizing conversation with your brother in the sense of, look, mom is
Yeah, I
not so
know, right?
comfortable with your girlfriend, because that would certainly not be
Yeah,
closer to you.
right, right.
So
I know I don't want to do that. Like I tell them, listen, if he's happy, then he's happy. It's his choices. Like I don't want to judge him on it.
yes,
Um, yeah, I don't want to antagonize it.
yes. Okay, so recapitulating a little bit and um, trying to build an arc kind of for our conversation. For me, the guiding question was, as who would you approach your siblings, your family, when you start a new phase of seriously trying to reconnect with them? And I think we talked about many bits and pieces there. Do I connect with them as the strong sibling or the one in need, the one who has something
Mm,
to offer, the one who is willing to apologize for an unfairness that you might have created without wanting it, the one who is addressing more the siblings and prioritizing your future with them, or also trying to connect with your parents, and in that sense to help out with your siblings when they have certain needs. And these, I think,
yeah.
are questions that are worth kind of thinking over and ruminating and brainstorming over, because
Mhm.
I sense that there's a lot of kind of undifferentiated kind of feel when it comes to your approach to the family, and this can end up in a mess. I don't know if it
Mhm.
would, but I know from examples again that it might be. So that, especially in a family where it was kind of, it seems to have been built in that it's not very differentiated and not very clear what the sets of needs and desires are of each individual family member.
Yeah.
It would make sense that you introduce that for yourself, where you go against the grain of the family dynamic and ask yourself explicit questions. What is my attitude towards my brother? What is my attitude towards my sister? What can she be for
Mhm.
me? What can I be for them? What can I
Mhm.
offer them? Right? And my parents, of course, as well. At the beginning, just to introduce this kind of differentiated way of thinking into my thought world, not in order to come to full conclusions and answers and a strategy, but
Yeah.
just to get used to this way of thinking of explicitness, at least in my mind.
Mhm.
And this is certainly something that I would suggest, and I would be interested, what kind of further ideas you would get to when you reflect over it in the next week. But I also would be interested in how you see things now and if you see merit in this approach.
Okay. I probably would need time to like even write it down on paper because it's how I
Yes.
process things and just it's a good way to think like how like what is my role for them? What do I want from them? What do I think that they want from me?
Hmm.
You know, because I can't be sure, but what I can offer. Yeah, I definitely never thought about it. It's just it's just implanted in me. Oh, they're brother and sister, and therefore it's this, you know. And it's definitely changed. Our dynamics have really changed through the years. So
Mm.
maybe we need to re-examine that and figure it out.
At least this
Yeah.
is what I would suggest to you, because if I think the other way, if you didn't develop a kind of a clearer perspective for yourself, then I
Yeah.
think the tendency would be that that you could join the family dynamics again on terms of the
Hmm.
family dynamics.
Yeah.
Basically, if you want to go back, you play by our rules again. The rules of
Yeah.
avoidance, the rules of being nice, the rule of maybe being cute again, this
Hmm.
rule and that rule. This, I would
Hmm.
feel, is the danger if you think, okay, let me just try and somehow feel my way into it without a more explicit approach. And that, I don't know, it can go well, but would have my concerns, and I would certainly like you to be more grounded in your
Yeah.
approach, that you don't lose yourself in a regressive way, that you have to become, the
Hmm.
cute one again if you want to be accepted,
Yeah.
included.
Right.
This would be my concern from looking from the outside.
Hmm. Yeah. These are topics, like I said, I never addressed before, especially with my family. So I have no idea how
Mhm.
they'll respond to it because we've never been in this situation. Like we've
Right.
never.
When you reflect on it
Yeah.
in the next week, don't think about them, because this is three steps away.
Yeah.
For me, it would be more important, or I see a bigger potential in the way that you think, in the way that you reflect on your siblings, the
Hmm.
family dynamic, and so on. I don't see kind of a direct way to how to communicate it to them. But first of
Hmm.
all, like you said, I haven't thought about it in these terms. Just for yourself, does it give me something? Does it
Hmm.
advance my way of reflecting on myself and the family when I start to be more explicit in my own thinking?
Hmm.
And then it might still be the result that when it comes to dealing with your sister and brother, kind of the kind, inexplicit approach might still be the more valuable one, but still you would be grounded in a more explicit perspective yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good point. Okay.
Okay?
I will think of those things. Yeah.
Yeah, I would be curious. I mean, there's no harm,
Yeah.
and it has the potential, I think, to change up the terms and conditions of how to engage with them.
Oh yeah. It's like my little homework. Like,
Hmm.
right? Who am I to my siblings?
Yes, yes, it's
That's
kind of a task. It's a little bit artificial,
yeah.
but I think it's just it's a catalyst for future
Yeah.
therapy conversations.
Okay. All
Okay,
right. I will try that.
please join us next time for the beginning of the third and last session that I have with my client Anna, where we will summarize the journey that she has had so far, her insights, and her understanding of the therapeutic process in general.